I was sitting at my girlfriend at the time's house, and my buddy called me and said, yo, dude, you got to get down to the mall. The $1 Million Man and Jerry the King Lawler are there. I grab a DVD with the $1 Million Man on the front, and I rush down to the mall. And I get there, and I see Jerry the King Lawler to the left. I see the $1 Million Man booth to the right. I go to the $1 Million Man booth because I really want to meet the $1 Million Man first. And I get there, and the only person there right now is Virgil. So I go to Virgil, and I said, oh, man, so great to meet you. And Virgil says, hey, great to meet you, too. And then he sees I'm holding this DVD, and he goes, hey, man, let me sign that for you. He takes it out of my hand. I don't even get to hand it to him. And in a black Sharpie writes over Hulk Hogan's face, Virgil, WWF. He then looks at me, still holding the DVD, and says, that'll be $20. I didn't want Virgil's autograph. I didn't want Virgil writing on my DVD cover. I only had $20 to begin with, so I had to give him the $20. I go, oh, here you go. So I'm thinking maybe that $20 will also get me the $1 Million Man's autograph. So I look at him and I say, hey, man, where's Ted at? And he goes, oh, he ain't here. It's just me. So he had a banner made up that made it seem like the $1 Million Man and Virgil were there, but it was just him. So now I have an autograph from Virgil I don't want. I have no money to actually get Jerry the King Lawler's autograph, and he's just going on about working out and wearing Under Armour clothes to me. I was stuck there for 20 minutes. I was the only person talking to Virgil, and he wouldn't let me leave. Finally, our conversation ends, and I go over to Jerry King Lawler, and all I can do is say, hey, nice to meet you. But I have no money, so I say, thanks for everything you do, and I awkwardly walk away.
Now, I don't want to punch down on this podcast, and I don't think this is going to be punching down. But I had a feeling when this podcast started, we were going to get a good amount of these specific calls. And I have titled this call, You Got Virgil'd, because, my friend, you got Virgil'd. And this isn't punching down, because this is what Virgil did for so many years, and he continues to do this. At the time of editing this very podcast, I received another very similar Virgil call, which I will put on next week's episode. And it might get to the point where we have a sponsored segment called Virgil Call of the Week. I have seen him do this many times. And Virgil's popularity has gone up and down. And I don't want to brag and say that I called it, but I remember many years ago when people were punching down hard at Virgil because of these tactics. And I knew that this stuff kind of goes in waves, and he's going to do these things so often and become so legendary that he does become legendary. And I believe the Megan twins, who are famous for helping out the Iron Sheik, also kind of guided Virgil on that fun wave back into that popularity. He might have dipped a little bit, but I bet in 5 years it goes right back up. This is something I've witnessed. I remember going to an IWC show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania years ago, and we had some time to waste, so we just kind of went to the mall. In the mall was Virgil, just at a table. He had brought his own table. He had brought his own vinyl. He had a giant poster of Ted DiBiase, the same thing that you described. And I think it was like a very, very small baseball card show, almost like only 5 tables. And then, of course, his table. I had a podcast with him for The Art of Wrestling. I tried to diagnose the hustle that he does and is on. He is just another form of human being. And my friend, I'm sorry. You got Virgil'd. Hey, thanks for watching. That call was part of a whole podcast called Wrestling Anonymous. Listen to the whole thing weekly. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go subscribe. While you're at it, subscribe right here on YouTube to Colt Cabana's channel. Thank you.